Hey, how's it going? It's Martin again. I'm here to talk a little bit about how to get a better headshot. So I want to very quickly go through a brief summary of 7 things that you should be looking for to determine whether you need to do a headshot. We'll go into whether you need to do a new headshot. We'll go into detail on each of these in a few minutes, but for now I just want to kind of very quickly get off your checklist of what to look for. First thing, was your headshot taken professionally? Did you actually hire a professional photographer to take it? Second thing, did you spend at least $100 to $150 on it, or the person that you worked with, do they normally charge a lot more than that to do headshots? Third thing, have you gotten auditions or work from it? Fourth thing, do you speak to other people like friends or family or colleagues, and do they think that the headshot is really good? Have you asked them, like, oh, tell me what you don't like about this, to determine whether they actually are just saying it's good to make you feel good, or whether they actually believe that it needs some work. Okay? So do other people around you think that it's good? Number 5, do you look the same in real life as you do in the shot? Number 6, do you project confidence or you don't look worried? And number 7, are you actually happy with it? Okay? These 7 things, if you answer no to any one of them, you should probably get a new shot taken. Now, I want to go into a little bit more detail about each of these. The first one, was it taken professionally? I mean, this is like, you can tell whether a shot looks like a professional headshot or not, can't you? Like, if you held up a shot that was done by your friend who has a good camera, and a headshot that was done by a real headshot photographer who that's their specialty, I mean, if you want, this is no, actually it is self-promotion. Go look at the pictures on our portfolio page on the gallery and see what they look like as examples of what a professional headshot looks like, and then compare it to your own. If your own doesn't look very professional, or the lighting is off or something, then the answer to that question, was it taken professionally, is no, and you should probably get a new headshot taken. Why? Because people can tell whether you care enough to invest money in your actual career, especially if you're an actor or a business person on LinkedIn. If you're using pictures that are taken unprofessionally, it says that you either aren't established enough to afford a professional headshot, or that you don't care enough to go out and make the effort for a professional headshot. And both of those things, they might not seem like much from your perspective, but from somebody else, it's kind of like, yeah, everybody, like maybe 80% or 90% of your competitors might not have a professional headshot. But why do you want to be in that pool? If you can suddenly be in the 10% of people who do have a professional headshot, I can tell numerous times for myself and for some people who I know, they've deliberately looked first at the people with the professional headshot, because they're like, well, this person, they just see it like, oh, they look more put together, they look more established or whatever. I'm going to look at their resume and stuff before I start looking at everybody else. So was it taken professionally? If not, you should probably get a new one. Next thing, when you did get it, if it was taken professionally, did you spend at least like 150 or 200 bucks on it? Okay? If not, if you have a friend who is a professional photographer and does headshots as their specialty, and they normally charge, say, like $500, then fine. If they did you a really, really good job. But if you got a picture and it kind of like, it was taken professionally, like the photographer they use the studio, but you only paid them like 50 or 100 bucks or something, and you found them on Craigslist, chances are something about your shot is going to be off, because if nothing about your shot was off, they would just naturally need to charge more. And the reason for that is twofold. One is, if they can charge more, they will, right? Because why not? Or 2, they would essentially want to stop working with people who can't necessarily afford to pay as much. And the reason is that, in general, most business owners would agree that if people are looking for deep discounts on things, they tend to be actually more challenging to work with, because they're going to be very nitpicky about everything. And as you start to charge a higher rate, you start to cut out those bargain hunters, and you start to work with people who are going to pay you your rightful rate, and they're going to be easier to work with. So if you paid a very low rate for your headshot, or the photographer didn't charge that much, the chance is that they didn't really know what they were doing or weren't very established, okay? Next question, have you gotten work with it? I mean, that's just a big question to answer. If you're an actor, have you gone out on auditions since you shot? I mean, if you just took this picture like a week ago, well, maybe not yet. But if you've had this picture for a few months and you haven't gotten a good amount of work from it and you're barely ever getting called in for auditions, or if you've taken a professional headshot on your LinkedIn page and the rest of your stuff, like your LinkedIn profile and all of that, is put together really well, and you're still not getting job interviews, then there's something wrong probably with your headshot, and you should probably get a new one. You should at least be getting the interview, okay, or for actors, the audition. Let's see, another one. Do other people around you think it's good when you ask for their honest feedback? A lot of times we can't see ourselves the problems with our own stuff, okay? So that means, like, if, let's say I'm horrible on camera and I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm doing these YouTube videos and I'm all over the place and you can't follow and you've left, I might think that I'm great, but if the people around me don't think that, the only way that I can find out is by asking them or by watching the videos myself and like trying to very, very carefully critique and maybe like going online and looking at a checklist, like our checklist right here that we're going over for these headshots, right? You need to either like analyze yourself based on a checklist, like what expression you have, whether it looks real, whether the lighting's good, all those other little things, or ask some friends and professional people like a network, you know, associates, colleagues, that sort of person, for their honest critique. Say, what don't you like about this headshot? Rather than asking like, oh, what do you think of this? If you say, what do you think of my headshot? They're like, oh yeah, it's nice, you know, and then they're thinking that it's terrible. But if you say, what don't you like about it? Now they're forced to answer that question instead, so they're going to be like, well, you know, I really like it, which might be a lie, but they'll say, I really like it, but maybe you could try not opening your eyes so wide so you look like you're in front of an oncoming train, okay? Then you'll get some feedback that at least you can use to hopefully improve upon in your next headshot. And if people give you that honest critique and people don't honestly think that it's that good, then in that case, you know that it's probably time to get a new headshot. Next thing, do you look the same in real life as you do in the photo? I mean, that's just a huge one that we oftentimes forget about, especially as we get older in life. Now, if you're sitting there and you're older than me, you're looking at me going like, who is this young kid to talk to me about getting older? Well, I'll admit, I mean, my hair is falling out and stuff, and I'm worried about that. I have my own issues to deal with. I would love to take a picture. Let's say 2 years from now, I'm like completely bald. I mean, I do a good job hiding it, but let's say that my hair is mostly gone. Yeah, I'd be awesomely happy if someone's like, hey, can you, I can Photoshop your hair back in. I'm like, yes. Yeah, and also, can you really like make my teeth perfect white, and can you remove every blemish and remove the lines that are kind of forming on my forehead and all of that, the smile lines that come around the eyes. Can you soften all that stuff so that I look like really, really good? And they do that, and then what happens? I don't look like my headshot. I look like I'm, you know, 5 years younger, or 10 years younger, or, you know, in some people's case, I look like I'm 30 years younger than in my headshot. And the problem with that is that it's being dishonest in a sense to people. First off, you need to understand that getting older and like, you know, even like things like losing hair and stuff that seems bad, as that stuff happens, that just means that in reality you're becoming more and more experienced, you're learning more things, and you have more that you can like share with others and help others with and stuff. So my belief is that looking more experienced or older in your picture isn't actually a bad thing. It also goes the other way. If you're like 5 and you want to look like you're 30, that's not good either, because you only have the experience of a 5-year-old. Or maybe we should be more realistic and say a 25-year-old as opposed to a 50-year-old. Okay, so look the way that you look in real life. It's awkward when people come up and they go, oh, you look a little different in your headshot. I was expecting you to have different hair or different color hair. I mean, anytime, if you like drastically change your haircut, you have like really long hair, like Sam Winchester, that keeps getting longer and longer in every single series of Supernatural, and then you suddenly cut it. I mean, you're at this place where you look totally different, and you definitely need a new headshot. Or you completely change your makeup style. You're doing like this gothic, intense makeup while you're, a certain age range, and then you decide to completely change your look. You need to update your headshot. There's so many things that go into, or like weight. You lose a bunch of weight, or over the years you gain weight. You should definitely look like your headshot, because if you don't, it comes across like your headshot is really out of date when people meet you in person. And then they start to wonder, again, this is an unconscious thing that they're not going to say to you, but is important. If you look different in your headshot, they're going to wonder why. They're going to wonder like, oh, is this, if you look older in real life than you do in your headshot, they're going to wonder, this person looks a lot older than they did in their picture that's on their website. Are they actually still as successful as they were back then? Will they still be able to help me? Like, I wanted to hire someone recently, and I saw their headshot on their website, and I was going to hire them to help me with putting together this project. And their website had this picture, and then I met them in real life, and they were like 20 years older. And I got worried. I'm like, this person has all this great stuff in their bio, but I feel like this happened like many years ago. I'm like, I don't know if this person is actually going to be able to help me as much as they say that they can. So if you can actually help people, or you can do what you say that you do, you're a great actor, you're a great business person who's going to get a good job, blah, blah, blah. You need to have a headshot that just looks like you and is completely up to date. I mean, in addition to this distrust that it creates, it can also just kind of make people question, like, why is it that they look different in their headshot? Can they no longer afford a headshot? Or, are they not proud of what they look like now? Have they made mistakes in their life? There's just like a lot of little things, and you might be looking at me being like, oh, Martin's crazy, he's like really picking this apart, and that's ridiculous. But it's true. Like, I mean, I know it is. I've experienced it myself, and I've had people like my wife who we wanted to hire someone, and we saw their headshot, and it looked completely different than when we met them in person. And it just kind of made us not trust them. It was like, is this really the same person, or are they, it's just, it kind of like creates this negative first impression. Your headshot, when people see it and you look, oh, I'm great and everything, might create a positive first impression, but once they meet them, it kind of instantly destroys all that and goes the opposite direction. But if you look like yourself, you're portraying yourself in an honest way. So for actors, just to get into this very quickly, if you look different in your headshot than you do when you come into the audition room, that just makes casting directors really angry at you. That's just like it's a really bad first impression, because they're like, why did you waste my time? Your hair is different, or you had a beard in your headshot and now you're coming in clean shaven, but I was looking for someone with a beard. With acting, your headshot is really important, because it's what do you look like right now, and do I want to bring you in for that position? Okay, so now we're going to talk about the 6th out of 7th thing to look for in your headshot, and this is, do you project confidence? Having a really good headshot doesn't necessarily just mean that you look friendly, you're smiling, or you're sad, or whatever expression you're going for as an actor, if you're doing an actor headshot. It also means that you look confident in the photo. And what that means, I think, more so than more so than projecting true intense confidence, is not looking worried, okay? This worried thing comes through the eyebrows, and I want you, with whatever your current headshot is, take it out right now and look at your eyebrows and see if within your eyes and eyebrows, if you can see any look of slight worry. And worry comes across as like, what I like to say, like a wavy eyebrow, okay? So it kind of looks like this. Essentially, if you look at my face, right, here, we could say that this is confidence, or just like, neutral. Now, this would be worry. There's a little bit of a muscle that goes up on the sides. If I make it more extreme, it goes like this. Okay? So the eyebrows kind of like form this wave shape. And that you definitely don't want to have in your headshot, no matter what expression you're doing. So if it's a sad expression, you're just like, versus your, okay? If it's a confident expression, there's a little bit of like a slight eye squint, and you just, versus being like, okay? I know it's very subtle, but the eyebrows will give off that look of worry. Same thing with any bit of wide eyes, okay? Making your eyes wide like that shows worry or shows scaredness. Just get rid of that. A lot of times if you're having a picture taken, you're either worried that you're doing it wrong, so your eyes get wide or your eyebrows waver, or you're worried that your eyes look small on camera, which some of you might be like nodding, like, oh, that sounds like me. And when your eyes look small on camera, you want to make them bigger by opening them. Well, don't do that, okay? If the photographer's doing a good job, they should be able to light your eyes so that they look big enough without you having to make them bigger, okay? There's plenty of other tips on how to fix that, but we're not going to go into that right now. But just look for that. Look for the worry in the eyes, either the eyebrow waving or the wide eyes. The final thing to look at if you're considering getting a new headshot and want to know whether you need one now or not is just an overall feeling of, are you happy with your current headshot? If you're not happy with it, you should definitely get a new one right away. You can't go out into this world feeling completely confident in yourself, knowing that you've put something out there that you're not happy with, especially when it's a close-up of your face. Like, let's say a lot of times this happens, right? We'll get a call from someone and they'll say, hey, listen, we just shot headshots in my office and the photographer only spent like, 30 seconds with me and said, here, stand there, okay, smile, blah, 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 and then they're gone. And they say to us, I just don't like my picture. I look worried, my face looks fat, or I have a double chin. They give us all these reasons and they're like, I want to do a new headshot. And that's something that's okay. You don't have to like the way that your headshot came out. If you don't like it, there's usually a reason. It's because something in there feels like it doesn't connect with who you are as a person. And my belief is that your image should show who you are as a person, as long as it looks like you do in real life. So it's kind of like personality-wise and angles and all that stuff can show who you are as a person. Looking like you do in real life means you can't get it overly retouched and make your face like super, super skinny or something, because then that's fake. But those 7 things, definitely look through those. I'll read them one more time for you just so that you have a quick recap of what to compare your current headshot with. 1, was it taken professionally? 2, did you spend at least like $100 to $150 on it? 3, have you gotten work from it? 4, do the people around you, when you ask what do you not like about this, do they actually think that the headshot is good in reality, or are they just telling you that to make you feel good? Number 5, do you look the same in real life as you do in the shot? Number 6, do you look confident, or in other words, do you not look worried? And number 7, are you actually happy with it? Those 7 things are really important when you're looking at your headshot, and I hope that you really take this in and understand like that your headshot is your image that's projected out to the entire world. It's basically your face, your digital face. It's the digital image of yourself that everyone is going to meet who doesn't meet you in person or before they even meet you in person. Okay? So if you have any questions, if you have any tips on how to make a headshot look good or make yourself look better, please leave them in the comments below. I'm going to definitely be reading through, responding, and hopefully we can kind of create a conversation around this because I think it's really important. All right, so please do subscribe, and as always, don't forget, live with purpose.